Hello, beautiful friends. Welcome to the Best Mom Ever podcast, your place for learning how to create a close relationship with your teen, even if they have already shut you out. I'm Allison, and I want to help you get out of struggle and into trust, happiness, and confidence with your teen without throwing pills at the problem. Thanks so much for listening, and we are glad you're here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Best Mom Ever podcast. I'm Allison, and I am just really thrilled to get to share a super fun topic with you today. We are going to have a couple of serious moments, but I will try to keep this super light and amazing. We are going to talk about how teens and toddlers are alike. Okay, so those of you who know me a little bit well know that I have a toddler, a little boy who's 4, and I work with moms of teen girls, and I want to help you all understand a little bit why I have chosen this particular group of people to work with, moms of teen girls and non-binary teens. And then obviously I want to support all types of parents. So if you're listening, please keep it up because I'm super glad you're here. I genuinely love and care about this generation of teens that's coming up right now. I think they're super special and unique, and I'm really proud of the things that they care about. I think that's just really, really lovely. They are pushing the envelope about what social justice actually means. And I think that teens often get a bad rap. They're dismissed as just being like hormonal, even though their experiences are super real and important. Anyway, I want to get going on this topic about how teens and toddlers are alike. So we get to give you some lessons from your past self. So you get to think back into when, if you're parenting a teen right now, when they were much smaller, and draw some lessons from all of that hard work you did keeping them alive when they were littles. A lot of moms tell me, I've had a lot of conversations with them, a lot of moms who are struggling in their relationship with their teenagers. And they tell me that their teen has changed, that things used to be easier and now the teen is disconnected, not sharing their feelings, pushing away, way more interested in their friends than in having a relationship with their family. A lot of times they'll talk about like grouchiness or other ways that this young person in their life is super different from the way that they were before. And none of the stuff that they used to do in the relationship is working anymore. So I want to challenge this idea. And while I know that our young people are changing and developing all the time, and a lot of times we're not parenting the same kid today that we were even last week. Okay, so I want to give some grace to parents because this is constantly an evolution and an adaptation to a person that's constantly gaining skills and becoming more capable over time. And so learning to constantly parent this new person, I acknowledge you for your experience. I'm going to say something that might be a little uncomfortable for some of you. And I know that if you're listening to this podcast, then you are up for the challenge of hearing some things that might feel a little uncomfortable. But what I want to say is that some of the tools that we have been given for parenting that we used on our toddlers may have worked, but they are not serving them, and they didn't serve them when they were toddlers, and they're definitely not serving teens, which is why it suddenly becomes so challenging when these young people become more capable and more aware of the strategies that we've used in the past. So if you do find that some of the things that I share are hard for you, I invite you to really give yourself grace. None of this is intended to be any kind of a criticism. It's definitely created to be an opportunity, not only for you, but also for your young person to be able to have the kind of relationship with their parent that they really want. Okay, so I'm going to take us on a journey. It may seem a little bit like a winding path, but it will come back around. So trust me on this. And also funny, we've got like our neighbors are enjoying a lot of fun music outside. So if you hear a little bit of interesting feedback, that's what we have going on. So I am a developmental specialist and I have been working for about 10 years in the specialty area of pediatrics. So I get to work with young people from age birth to 21 years old. And through my work, I have seen like just so many common threads in that, like, these are relationships with people who are developing. So a lot of this stuff really does apply that we really need to apply when we're coming to parent littles. And a lot of that same stuff can actually be used with teenagers if we do it correctly. So I want to take you on that journey and help you out. If you are listening to this, I know that you are open to growth in your relationship. So kudos to you. And I'm going to talk about exactly why it's so important to me, why I've chosen this group as the people that I want to serve, the message that I want to share, why you guys are the people that I care about so much. So when I think about young people, I already shared that I think that this group of teenagers, young people that are coming into adulthood right now are amazing and incredible. And I also know that they're having a hard time, right? Like they all survived a pandemic. Every single teenager on the planet survived the pandemic. They had to deal with masks, being isolated from their friends. They missed certain opportunities during their development. Okay. And then by nature of their being teenagers, they were confronted, or they're being confronted right now with their adulthood. They're like, okay, so what's it going to be like when I'm an adult? And they're being expected to act like adults. And so they don't get to act like children anymore, even though they don't get the respect of adulthood and they don't get the play and the leisure of childhood. So it's a hard spot to be in. Also, they're dealing with social media, being like holding themselves up to this kind of impossible standard of what other people want it to look like, want to be perceived, want to be looked at as by other people. So they're getting this sort of like fake reality or this fake sense of reality on what life is like for their peers in many cases. And then like this generation is facing a lot of hopelessness. They have really big, beautiful ideals. But then there's this sense of hopelessness, like because they can see these 24-hour news cycles, war, climate change, social injustice. Like they're just like, I don't even know what to do here. And then meanwhile, through again, my experience as an OT, I have been able to work with a lot of parents and see that when parents learn new skills, kids make progress. Kids do better on their goals when their parent is in that leadership role for them. So you guys as parents want to have a great relationship with your teenager. And probably if you don't have that, you're feeling bad about that. So there's probably some shame, some like anxiety, like, why don't I have this kind of relationship that I want with my kid? And then there's also comparison, right? Like comparing kids' academics or sports, getting into colleges, like talking to our friends about our kids. Like it's really easy to get stuck in that comparison trap. It's just a really hard spot. And then you're feeling all this pressure to help your kids make the grades, to get them to do their homework, to make sure that they become responsible adults who will be successful. And then meanwhile, y'all are getting these false messages about how we need to toughen up our kids for the real world, false messages about what respect is and what it means to have your children's respect. A lot of people think that respect means that you just do whatever you're told without questioning it. And that's not real respect, right? Respect is making a choice to act in a certain way because you care about the relationship. I mean, that's my own definition of respect, but that's what it is. The strategies that you used for your little kids have stopped working by the time that you have teenagers. And frankly, most of us are overworked, we're burned out, and we need a break. So, for those reasons, that's why I have chosen this special group of people to share this message with. So, let's dive in. I am in the thick of raising my toddler. And yes, I am also constantly, constantly, I don't know if that's the word, regularly in tune with moms who are parenting teenagers. And so I have insight into the parallels. So they're super fun. So I hope this is super great for you. This is not necessarily in any particular order. So they can't talk about their feelings. Toddlers are really bad at talking about their feelings because they don't have the vocabulary. So they're saying like, spicy for everything. It's too spicy. It's too spicy. I heard something like on a Netflix comedy recently about that. Um, so yeah, we'll hear the same word over and over. For my kid right now, it's I'm scared. And so when I hear I'm scared, even though like in many cases that may be true and I want to validate his fear, right? And not be like, no, you're not scared. At the same time, like I want to be giving him better vocabulary. So I'm like, okay, so are you maybe not feeling scared? Are you maybe feeling lonely? Is that how you feel? Lonely because you don't want to be in the room by yourself? Or, talking about like everything is spicy, it's too spicy. Well, actually, maybe that flavor is sour. Maybe we need to fill in the vocabulary for our toddlers, right? And for teens, it looks different, right? They can't talk about their feelings for different reasons. They maybe have some distrust about sharing their feelings. Maybe they still have some ideas about like certain feelings are bad. I feel lonely. I feel frustrated. I feel angry. I feel bored. Like, not all these feelings are always considered acceptable and they're uncomfortable. So they don't want to talk about them because they don't want to have to deal with the feeling. So, for different reasons, but teens and toddlers cannot really talk about feelings very well. Okay, here we go. Here's another one. Teens need more autonomy. And the thing is, no matter where you are in the developmental spectrum, so if you are 10, there's going to be certain skills that you've now mastered. You're probably reading pretty well by 10. Your handwriting is starting to be under control, things like that. But then there's new skills that you haven't quite mastered yet that are going to be coming along. Maybe becoming more independent with actually being left alone for a little while at home is coming up now. Or maybe we're giving a child who's 10 more chores and responsibilities or care for an animal or something like that. Even though they've mastered these skills over here, there's still new ones coming and they need this. They need to get more responsibility. It feels great. Okay. This is how we build confidence is we give kids opportunities to fail and they are successful. But we also, like I was talking about earlier with the hopelessness, we need to make sure that we're giving them tasks that feel manageable, that feel attainable for them, that if they're doing something new, like making a doctor's appointment for themselves for the first time or driving to a new place, that we are kind of giving them the external support that they need. So maybe they do need to watch you make that first phone call to a doctor and see how you do it. Or maybe they need you to stand there and, make sure that they know what credentials they might need. Like, oh, maybe there's a phone number that they don't have memorized or something like that, that they'll need to be able to share. So just kind of creating that safety for them to try something new so that you can build more autonomy. Like I said, because this is going to build confidence for our young people. And we need them to be confident, right? Like that's going to be a skill that they take forward in their life. I was just kind of reflecting on this particular skill building piece. And I was like in the shower and I'm of course a single parent. And so also parenting while I'm showering. And my toddler comes and he's like, Mom, I'm hungry. There's another one. Teens are always hungry and so are toddlers. But he comes in, he's like, Mom, I'm hungry. So I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to eat? And I'm still like, washing my hair and stuff. And he's like, chicken nuggets. I was like, okay, great. So because he's small, he's only 4, I gave him like baby steps. I said, okay, baby, well, I want you to go to the freezer. We have one of those like parallel side by side so he can reach the freezer. And I said, just take out the chicken nuggets and put them on the counter and then come back and talk to me. And he goes, okay. So he runs off and he puts the chicken nuggets on the counter and he comes back. And then I, step by step, I was like, okay, sweetheart, I want you to go get a plate and I want you to put the chicken nuggets that you want on the plate. And then I want you to come back and talk to me. And he goes, okay, I put 5 chicken nuggets on my plate. I was like, excellent. Because we had a whole conversation about how many he should put on his plate. So when everything was said and done, I found out that he'd put on like 4 or 3 or something, but he did it, right? And he comes back. He's like, okay, the chicken nuggets are on the plate, or however he said it in his little kid voice. And then I was like, okay, so I want you to open the toaster oven and I want you to put them in the toaster oven and turn it on. And then I want you to come back and get me. So like, it was like step by step, we broke it into these tiny little pieces. And my message to you is that teenagers need that too. They need things broken down because they are constantly building new skills just like a toddler is. Their brains are restructuring. They are constantly growing and learning new things. So yeah, it's the same kind of dynamic. It's just less physiological changes in some cases on the outside. But I guess with teens, you got like acne and stuff like that happening. So a lot of maybe obvious changes coming on the outside too. Ha, BO. All right. So teens need connection. Okay. This is like a really, really big one that I want to make sure that everybody gets is that teens need connection. Okay. I'm always telling parents of teens it is not too late. And the reason that even if you feel disconnected or you're struggling in your relationship with your teenager, that it's not too late is that they still have this deep need for connection, just like our toddlers do. So fortunately, right now with my 4-year-old, like I'm still getting reinforced. What I mean by reinforcement is that like when I smile at him, when I shower him with love, like he's still giving it back to me. I'm still seeing him receive my affection. So we've had a lot of difficulty with preschool drop-offs. Okay. I've been putting a ton of energy into my communication with him and into making sure that he is feeling super, super connected and safe when I drop him off. So teens need this too. They are going through this same experience of gaining more independence, and it's a little bit scary. So making sure that we are building that connection with them. If your teen is like totally holed up in their room and you feel like, no, they don't care about a relationship with me, like they're probably struggling a whole lot because we all need connection with our parents. We all really do care about that. And for those of us, if for some reason you've cut that off completely, like that's super, super painful. And that is the opposite of what we're talking about here. My point is that teens need connection. Okay. This is what drives this super individuation process that some people call it, or like the pushing away that parents describe. Like they care more about their relationships with their peers. Like they want to feel included. They want to feel like part of the group. Ways that you can create this with a teen is, being able to listen to our teenagers, giving them that warm greeting, noticing them, like the things that they need in terms of space, in terms of like downtime after school. This is a really big one. Letting them know how important that relationship is to you, how much they're unconditionally loved. So valuable. And again, teens need to be heard and validated, which is totally true for toddlers as well. So, how about temper tantrums? I have definitely heard parents talk about like, okay, and then my teen had an actual temper tantrum, a temper tantrum. Okay. And the thing is like teens get dysregulated. Their whole system is restructuring, reorganizing. So of course there are going to be times when they don't have the skills to manage their big feelings. Okay. Like I was talking about earlier, teens are up against a lot. Some of our teens are masking where they are, especially in the neurodiverse community, where people have some sort of cognitive or mental difference from other people that we would consider, I'll say, typical. They pretend that they are that and they hide maybe how hard it is to function in school, or they suppress a need to, I don't know, move around a lot or touch others. Maybe people have like a real strong need to touch and they don't get to do that while they're at school because they know that that would be uncool to their peers or annoying to their teachers. So they might get dysregulated. And I know that this happens all the time with my toddler, right? Where I'm like, okay, I need to put some headphones on because I have to calm him down without also myself getting stressed out and triggered. And then also just like being aware, like, are they hungry? Do they need more rest? Like what could be going on? Like they still need that help to co-regulate because, even though they are a lot more mature, they have a lot more skills for life in general, like life is also getting progressively harder for them. So they will get dysregulated. Little kids and toddlers can't always generalize. I was at the grocery store with my son and we saw our neighbors. And he looked at them like they were crazy and he couldn't figure out what was going on. Like this woman was smiling at him and talking to him, and he's just like, I don't like, you could just tell on his face. He couldn't process the situation because he couldn't generalize. Like if he had seen her in his backyard, he would know that that was the neighbor, right? But because we were in a different place, he couldn't put those two things together. So a lot of times when you have a teenager, they're going to have like one skill that's like, wow. And you're going to be like, okay, this teen is super competent. Why can they handle working at the stables and managing these horses and all these responsibilities here in this one context that's important to them? But then like they can't seem to get it together to clean their own room. So like sometimes there's those gaps, and teens are going to need our help to break things down into more manageable parts. Teens and toddlers need respect. Okay, so raising your voice at a toddler to get what you want, punishing, spanking, shaming, saying things like boys don't cry, dry it up. These are things that harm a relationship with a child, regardless of where they are on the developmental spectrum. Parenting is a journey, and I had found myself at different times using some of the oppressive strategies that had been given to me by my culture, by the other adults in the world around me. And in addition to that, also, like I was kind of going through a phase where I was telling my child that I needed space a lot. I need space. I need space. Well, sure enough, I could immediately start to see the bids for connection to decrease, even in my little boy. I could see that he was asking me for space. He was way more interested in watching his tablet than in having a relationship with me. And so to me, that just proves like how important it is to start to break these habits as soon as possible of trying to control really hard with things like yelling or punishing. It really breaks down the relationship, and it makes our kids think less of themselves. It doesn't really bring as much in terms of connection. And the thing is, like, it's really easy to get caught up in the pressure that we get from the outside, where people feel like, oh, well, you're not a good parent if you don't have control over your child. But I would just really encourage parents to feel empowered if you know that you're respecting your child, because that is way, way more important than how they are behaving at a restaurant, for example, or like having control over the way that they talk to their sibling, like that you're modeling the more empathetic option. So I don't know. How do I deal with keeping it light? Oh my goodness. So anyway, I hope you all have a beautiful day. Thank you so much for listening. And just keep loving yourselves, guys. It's going to be okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for listening. And I hope you enjoyed the show. If you know that you want to have a great relationship with a young person in your life, but you are still struggling, I have an opportunity for you. I am a parenting teens strategy specialist with years of experience working with parents to build stronger, more connected, peaceful relationships with their kids. And I am filling the last handful of spots in my Best Mom Ever private program. If you love what you hear and you know you need more support, book a free Trust and Freedom Breakthrough call with me. On that call, we'll have the opportunity to get clear on what you really want in your relationship with your teenager, figure out what might be missing from your parenting strategy, discover what might be blocking your relationship and keeping you from that closeness, and really learn how to make your young person want to share what's going on with them, their heart. Okay? We'll discover what it takes to get the peaceful, connected relationship that you want, even if you think it's too late. These calls will be available for a limited time, and they are free, so go ahead and grab one. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye.